in which a student is asking similar question that I am eating this, I am doing this, I am more intelligent, I am able to pray to God, I am able to get education, I am able to do this, then how is it that I am not above the animals and the trees and the seen, the unseen? I should be above.
Welcome to the Corner Office, your go-to podcast where we learn about the world of business, leadership, and success strategies. I'm Sanchit Vijay from Corporate Professionals, and today we'll talk about the essence of sustainability. In each episode, we bring to you insightful discussions and intriguing topics from the corporate world. Whether you are a seasoned executive, an aspiring entrepreneur, or even a person looking for valuable insights into the business landscape, we have something in store for you. Today, we'll have Sukriti with us. She's a senior associate managing ESG reporting and sustainability advisory practice, who's going to talk about a sense of sustainability with us. So, hi Sukriti, how are you?
I'm good, Sanchit. How are you?
I'm great too.
Thanks for having me.
So, welcome to our first and foremost podcast of Corner Office. So, today we'll be talking about a sense of sustainability. And to start off with, I just want to ask you the first and the very important question. What actually is sustainability and what does it mean?
I think the world is talking about it, and I must congratulate you on choosing the right topic as the beginning. You should start something with positive, and that is what is more positive than sustainability and having consciousness towards environment and nature. So I'd like to tell you that it's not just today that people have started like talking about it. 5 years ago, people had suddenly started talking about mental health, but it's not that mental health issues didn't agree, uh,
Arise.
arise or appear before. But now people have become more conscious, people have come out more. So we were always facing issues and problems regarding segregation of waste, oleum, the most famous oleum gas case. In 1992, MC Mehta ji is a senior Supreme Court advocate who started fighting for Ganga rejuvenation, Yamuna rejuvenation. So all these issues were there. But since they were not hitting the common man directly, it only stayed a talk of the town for big corporates and some activists.
So, how do you think it is hitting the common man today?
So, coming back to the first question, we see sustainability as an altruism activity and we see as a violator, an industrial violator. Sustainability lies somewhere in the middle as a sweet spot.
Okay.
You cannot call it an activism. You cannot call it as an act of destruction. You need to be mindful of your actions.
Okay.
Basically, applying common sense in everything that you do is sustainability.
Okay. And why do you think it is gaining importance like today, since it's a sweet spot between altruism and violation? So, what happened suddenly that it has started to gain importance in today's world that every company wants to follow that, every individual wants to follow that. We are talking about it. Probably the international, in international context, people are talking about. UN is talking about it. So, why did it happen just suddenly?
Okay. So in 2008, when the recession hit because of the fallout of two main banks, it was the right time when we should have started speaking about sustainability. See, ultimately, businesses lie on natural resources more than human resources. We all, in some or the other way, be it service sector, be it industries, we all are dependent on natural resources in some or the other form, directly or indirectly. So when you operate from the mindset of using and not utilizing, you feel a sense of entitlement towards using certain resources. It's then when they start depleting, and you don't give enough time to nature to rejuvenate. For example, the farmers in Punjab and Haryana was supposed to be the most fertile state of not just India but the entire world because of the five rivers. That's why it is called Punjab. But suddenly Punjab has suddenly become barren. It's not because the soil is bad. It's because we are not giving enough time to soil to rejuvenate from Rabi to Kharif and Kharif to Rabi season. And this intelligence was known by our ancestors but unfortunately, it did not get passed on to the next generations. So, when knowledge gets contained in one generation and it does not get passed on due to various factors, it's then when it leads to an inflation or recession of any kind. And let me tell you, Sanchit, there are no parts in nature. You cannot see that, okay, I'm going to solve this problem because this has, with this solution. You never know what kind of impact it might have on the other community or a country. You must have heard about the butterfly effect.
Yes, yes.
So we all are connected in some form or the other, and we are heavily dependent on natural resources. So what do our ancient scriptures teach us about that? You use anything from nature. It's for use, but not with the sense of entitlement, not with the sense of, okay, I own this. This is my property. Natural resources, firstly, need to come out of the definition of commodity. We need to have a sense of gratitude whenever we are using any resources. So I had to tell you all of this coming to today's time. In past 30 years, because we had so much of pressure on us to rejuvenate our financial systems, that we completely became, we blinded our eyes completely towards having a peripheral vision,
Okay.
towards natural resources, towards having a sustainable development. Even the governance, even the corporate governance structures were failing. Before Deepak Parekh, what did we think about NBFCs? Fly by night operators. This is what we used to think. So even the governance structures, this man is said to be having he is somebody who has a sense of gratitude, who has a sense of giving, who has a will to do 10% more than the prescribed work. So anybody sitting at the top managing the resources has to be a person of character. That's the only way you will be able to manage the resources well, and this lifestyle, we can incorporate this in our lifestyle, and then
So,
it can move forward.
I've understood now why this has gotten so much attention and importance in this today's world. But what is the definition of sustainability? Like, who has given the definition of sustainability? What is the widely accepted meaning of it?
Okay. So हम लोग usually UN की बातें सुनते हैं. So let's quote the definition of United Nations when it came out in the time of Kyoto Protocol, and now GHG Protocol is also there, and UNEP definition states the most widely accepted definition is sustainability means that you are using the resources today for the current generation is able to meet its needs, and being mindful of the fact that even the future generations are also able to meet
Right.
their needs. It's widely accepted. There is no problem with this. Just that the only challenge with this definition is that it's incomplete and it is anthropocentric.
Okay, so hold on. Number one, how is it incomplete and how is it anthropocentric? And what do you mean by anthropocentric?
Yes. So it is incomplete because it is only talking about generations, human generations.
Okay.
And it is anthropocentric for the same reasons. It is only talking about people. It's again inculcating a sense of entitlement in the human species, that my needs need to be met, my children's need to be met, my grandchildren's needs to be met, and that's it.
So when you say anthropocentric, it means that we are only talking about the human species and not talking about any other species,
Yes.
like all the animals and biologically organisms, all the other microorganisms, right? Okay, so you're saying it's incomplete in that sense. So why do you think humans have kept this on themselves on a higher pedestal?
It's a Western concept. If you see our ancient Veds, firstly, the if you go into the ancient scriptures, let's go into the Isha Upanishad for that matter.
Okay.
A guru and a student,
Okay.
in which a student is asking similar question, that I am eating this, I am doing this, I am more intelligent, I am able to pray to God, I am able to get education, I am able to do this, then how is it that I am not above the animals and the trees and the seen, the unseen? I should be above. So Guru stated the same thing, saying that in the eyes of nature, even an earthworm has the same rights as a human being. You are not above any other species. You're here to do your functions. You're here to utilize the resources with gratitude and a low sense of entitlement. For example, people talk a lot about food chain. Okay, tigers eat deers, they eat grass, they feel pain, they feel that. But have you ever tried to understand that do they do it because they think that they can do it and they should do it, or they do it because they need to do it? This is the question that we need to ask
Interesting.
ourselves. That okay, you can do whatever you want, but do you need to do it? Is it necessary for you to do that? That's where the common sense comes in, and that's why I'm a big fan of this belief that sustainability is nothing but common sense. Even relationships are sustainable. What do you do to sustain those relationships? You apply common sense. You don't do the things that are not needed, and that's why you're able to sustain them.
That's an interesting take,
Hmm.
applying sustainability on relationships. So, like you've talked about all of this, but is there any law in India that says about sustainability, that talks about it, that says that you need to be sustainable, or anything like that when it comes to the constitution or
Hmm.
any provision or
Hmm.
any law in any of the act that is there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, Article 51 and Article 48
Of
of the Indian Constitution,
okay.
they are the directive principles of state policy that give responsibility, social responsibility to people to have a scientific mindset and to preserve the natural heritage.
Okay.
And mind you, India is the only country that has the most evolved, most developed, and most inclusive environmental laws. Do you know what the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 has its preamble as? That it is we as human beings are the guardians of environment. You tell me which country, so-called these developed nations, nobody has these kind of highly evolved laws in which we include everybody. India is the only country that has the court dedicated to environmental problems, and that is National Green Tribunal. No other country has that. Even in US, you go to UK, all these nations have the provision of class action suit. That means if you are a person who is facing any kind of problem because of any industrial violation, then only can you go to the court. However, in India, uh, due to the Indian Constitution and due to the National Green Tribunal provisions, Section 14 and Section 15, I, as a citizen sitting in New Delhi, can fight for the people sitting in Arunachal Pradesh
For their
for
rights.
their rights. And I do have the locus standi for that. So India has foremost the most evolved biodiversity laws.
That's something new.
Yeah,
So,
we will discuss that as we proceed with the series.
talking about the laws, are there any court cases that are being going on like such that you've mentioned? Any rulings, any judgments that have come out in the past?
Absolutely. So I think this entire movement started in the year 1991 because of the Taj Mahal case, in which MC Mehta ji started fighting for the Taj Mahal's erosion started happening
Yeah.
because Yamuna ji was heavily polluted because of arsenic and the presence of mercury. It was found on the levels of poisonous. So it started from there. Then there was Ganga rejuvenation matter. Then Godavarman cases in which forest preservation, in which Supreme Court came out with rulings such as there has to be compulsory afforestation whenever there is a forest diversion taking place. In 2006, we had Environmental Impact Assessment Committee sitting up, and we had divided the companies and industries according to their pollutant zones: red zone, orange zone, green zone. And this process is very stringent. You have to give the scoping and screen, you have to go through scoping and screening, you have to have public hearing, and if the stakeholders and the stakeholders included the tribals also of that area in which you are going for a forest diversion for mining industries that are heavily pollutant. So and India is the only country taking stand for all these things. See, we can have problems with the implementation part, but when you talk about the laws, then undisputedly we have the best of them
Okay. Across the world.
across the world. And there are so many matters now. Compulsory afforestation, CAMPA funds are sitting right under the eyes of the Supreme Court, so you cannot do corruption easily under that.
Okay.
We have NGT. NGT has divided 4 committees for solid waste management. Solid waste management is a huge issue in our country because, unlike other nations, we don't feel entitled to put our garbage in the oceans. We try to treat it.
But still, बहुत सारा garbage जाता है rivers में, oceans में.
जा रहा है.
सो उस चीज को हम कैसे, उसका सोल्यूशन क्या निकालें, मतलब वेयर शुड दे पुट इट, मतलब व्हाट इज द वे फॉर कॉर्पोरेट्स कि वो इस प्रोसेस को अच्छे से इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाए कि वो गार्बेज हमें रिवर में नहीं डालना पड़ रहा. आई एम श्योर देयर वुड बी बेटर वेज, प्रॉब्ली शायद कॉस्ट लगेगी, बट एवरीवन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट ईएसजी, आजकल
Yeah.
की कंपनीज ईएसजी करना चाहिए, बट स्टिल केमिकल्स जा रहे हैं रिवर्स में, ओशंस में जा रही है, सारे पोल्यूटेंट्स रिवर्स में जा रहे हैं, तो व्हाट इज द सोल्यूशन फॉर दैट?
देखिए, इसका सोल्यूशन ना आपका 1996 में और 1994 में आ गया था in the form of Air Act, Water Act, Noise Pollution Act.
Okay.
So whenever you're a company, whenever you're an establishment, there are a set of compliances that you have to follow. You have to have an ETP. ETP is effluent treatment plant. If it's an industrial area, then you need to have a sewage treatment plant. तो आपको अपना जो पॉइजन लेवल है उसको एक लेवल तक मैनेज करके ही आप उसको रिवर में बहा सकते हो या फिर किसी ऐसे डंपिंग एरिया में डाल सकते हो. सी, एज वी स्टार्टेड बिफोर, वी नीड टू गिव टाइम टू नेचर टू रिजुविनेट. अगर आप डालते ही रहोगे तो नेचर को ना रिजुविनेट होने का टाइम नहीं मिलेगा. आप डालिए, कुछ टाइम के लिए उसको सेप्टिक होने दीजिए. दैट्स वाई वी हैड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सेप्टिक टैंक्स इन द मोइंजोदारो एरिया. ऐसा नहीं है कि तब इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं हुआ करते थे. देयर वाज अ रीजन व्हाई वी वर अ गोल्डन बर्ड एंड वी वर ऑलवेज अ कैपिटलिस्टिक इकोनॉमी, बट वी वर कॉन्शियस अबाउट आवर एक्शंस. सो द ओनली पॉइंट इज दैट व्हाटएवर यू डू इट इन सम इंटरवल्स. आपने डाला, आपने उसको सेप्टिक होने दिया, आपने उसको ट्रीट होने दिया. उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे रिपोर्ट्स हैं, नीति आयोग के रिपोर्ट्स हैं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट्स हैं, हाउ यू नीड टू ट्रीट योर वेस्ट. तो एफ्लुएंट ट्रीटमेंट के ऊपर काफ़ी सारे जजमेंट्स हैं. लेकिन आपने जो सवाल मेरे से पूछा कि कॉरपोरेट्स क्या कर सकते हैं, वेस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा है. वेस्ट में इसके दो आंसर्स हैं. एक अच्छा आंसर है ये दैट वी एज एन इंडियन, we, no matter how westernized we can call ourselves, no matter how posh a society we live in, still in our hearts, whenever we'll see an elder, we'll do a namaste. Whenever we are going out of our home, we will put a tilak on our head. We'll immediately bow in front of Tulsi ji. This is there in our DNA. We are humble by nature. एंड यही जो हमारी ह्यूमिलिटी है ना, यही हमारे को नेचुरल वे में अपना जो गार्बेज है उसको हम देखते हैं, बुरा मानते हैं, समझ नहीं आता क्या करें. लेकिन बाकी कंट्रीज की तरह एंटाइटल्ड फील नहीं करते कि इसको उठाओ एंड स्ट्रेटेजिकली, सिस्टमैटिकली ओशंस में डंप कर दो. वी डोंट डू दैट. वी स्टिल ट्राई टू मैनेज इट.
हाउएवर, वैसे अगर इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बात किया जाए, countries outside are much more cleaner than countries in
They are
India.
cleaner because they are able to dump their waste in countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, and there is so much of anti-dumping going on. And the reason why we had anti-dumping cess, it's because of these activities only.
Okay.
That whenever European Union states that any country that is manufacturing textile goods for me needs to have these compliances. There's a list of compliances. I come from textile background. My family has textile business, so I know that there's a checklist of compliances. Without giving payment, they can return your stuff. They feel entitled to do so. However, in their own country, they would produce technologies that would create microplastics. They are heavily dependent on meat industry is the second largest polluting industry in the world. So we cannot be sustainable according to our convenience. It's not convenient. It's not a choice of convenience.
Okay.
It's something that you do no matter what. You do it because it's the right thing to do.
So let's say I want to be sustainable, okay, as an individual. What are the things that I should adopt in my daily life, in my consciousness, that these are the things that I should be doing for me to be sustainable with the environment around me? What should I do?
See, firstly, it's a journey and it's a very fun journey, let me tell you.
Okay.
Like for example, just thinking in your wardrobe, shifting to cottons like, and having a vegetarian diet. If not vegan, then at least having a vegetarian diet. Sleeping early, waking up early,
So how
connecting with nature.
how sleeping early, waking up early?
When you'll wake up early, what will you do? You'll not watch a Netflix series, I'm sure, early in the morning at around 5 o'clock. You would like to go for a walk. You like to go for a walk. You'll go for a walk. What will you do? You'll see the birds chirping. You'll see the environment. You'll start connecting with it. And nature will itself do some kind of a magic on you that you will nobody will have to teach you then.
Okay.
You will not be asking this question, okay, I need to go eco-friendly, or what do I do? Nature will teach you. So here I have an interesting thing to tell you again from the ancient scriptures. You must have heard about Dattatreya Bhagwan. So Dattatreya Bhagwan, when he was a kid, he was looking desperately for a guru. That,
Okay.
okay, I need somebody to teach me what's the right way of living. And so exactly the same question. One day he just woke up early in the morning and he saw that the flowers were blooming. And then his higher intelligence told him that, okay, if the flowers are blooming at this time, then there is something magical happening at this time.
Okay.
Then he started waking up early naturally. He would see that birds would be leaving their nest going for work, just like we do. And there is some kind of energy that is there, that is not usually found in the daytime or any other time, because there's too much chaos after some time.
Okay.
So he eventually gets in his teaching, he started writing that I found my guru in nature. So once you start doing all these things that our ancient rituals tell us, you will know what is the right way of living.
So, just to point it out, you said shifting to cottons, waking up early, sleeping early. What else?
What else? Like, just as I told you, once you'll start doing it, nature will tell you. And I'm sure cooking at home, eating at home, sitting and talking with your parents for like an hour, no matter how annoying it is, but just doing it because it's important.
That's
And
an interesting thing to
and, and,
say.
and, and having a pet, giving uh, getting out some corpus from your salary and donating it for feeding the cows, for
Okay.
that matter,
For any
connecting
animal, for that
for
matter.
any animal for that matter.
Okay.
Things like that, talking about it with your friends,
Okay.
changing daily lifestyle habits.
So, like adopting sustainability in our own lifestyle.
Hmm.
I think it's.
And it's trust me, very cost effective. See, it's very commonsensical. If you're sitting in this room, we are having these lights. The moment we'll go out of it, we would like to close the lights. It's plain common sense. So
Right.
applying sense in everything that you do.
Okay.
And if you're not able to, then at least apologizing.
Okay. And what about as corporate? Like, what are the things that we should be doing to be sustainable as corporate? Because these days, all the corporates are trying to be sustainable in their own ways. There have been talks about ESG related context in the corporate lifestyle and corporate work, and people are talking about what kind of valuation enhancement there would be, the market capitalization would be increasing if they are adopting
Yes,
ESG.
absolutely.
So, what should I do as a corporate to be more sustainable?
Okay, since we are into the service sector, we will have to look at both the ways. One is for our client sustainability in terms of explaining to them. For that, we'll have to do the industry study, and second is for our own
Own.
good. For
So
our
let's
own
talk
good,
about for our own
for
good.
our own sustainability, we need to understand that okay, NGT has also said this, but it's again, I'll speak from the perspective of common sense. Having dustbins, two dustbins, one is wet waste, one is dry waste. Okay, let's have three. I don't think we have too much of battery waste or hazardous waste per se, but some industries do have hazardous waste also.
Okay.
So in our case, we can have two, wet and dry. For wet, it can get collected in one area and then it can go for either composting. There are so many companies right now operating in Delhi that collect segregated garbage from corporates, and then they turn it into wealth. Like, for example, there is this company called Edible Roots. They'll collect collect your wet waste, and they'll convert it into compost. And if you have any plantations here, they'll make that compost and sell it back to you
Wow.
at very cheap rates. So these kind of business models are there. And then having e-waste. E-waste is a big market. I don't have to
So when you
explain that.
say e-waste, you mean old computers,
Old computers,
laptops.
laptops, cell phones,
Okay.
any kind of metal, because all this metal is reused in the e-waste markets, and this is a heavy commodity.
Okay.
So we have gold in our phones. So
Okay.
they extract gold. That's why they have reselling values. All these electronic gadgets. And then there is debris. Debris is collected usually by the government because they crush it, The stone crushers are there, and then they convert it into first recycled, second recycled. Having PET bottles get recycled. So this first step, segregation of waste, can do a lot of good.
Okay.
And plastic, all 7 types of plastics can
All
be.
7 types, what all types? Like,
So we have PET. We have PET is
what's a daily use plastic? What is it called?
polypropylene.
Polypropylene.
That is the panni that we see in
Okay.
and the vendor shops.
Okay.
That is polypropylene, and it can be recycled.
Out
PET is
of
heavily recycled.
out of this 7 plastics, is there any plastic that we should not be using at all? Because I think a few years back or a couple of months back, there was a talk about straws, plastic straws being banned, or one-time use plastic
Yeah,
being
yeah.
banned. So, what kind of plastic we should not be using, or something that we should not use?
Not use at all. See, okay, so the plastic in itself is not a bad product. No product in the market is bad. For that matter, even acid is not bad.
Okay.
Every ingredient has its use, and once its intended use is over, it should not it should come back into the value chain.
Okay.
That's what the circular economy is all about.
So when you say it comes back to the value chain, you mean properly biodegraded?
No. That you're talking about the eco-friendliness.
Okay.
So eco-friendliness and sustainability are two different things.
Okay.
Eco-friendly means if this product is eco-friendly, it means that it has a short life cycle.
Okay.
According to the lab test reports, it will have a short life cycle. It will go back to nature fast, and it will not do any kind of
So when you say
environmental damage.
eco-friendly, you mean it will convert into
Soil, microbes, air, and
fast. So that's what
faster.
eco-friendly.
That is
Okay.
eco-friendly. Something that is not eco-friendly, it means that it has a longer lifespan.
Okay.
So जैसे पुराने ज़माने में जो आसुरी शक्तियाँ होती थी, they would like to attain immortality. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that they would always be running after, oh, I don't want to ever die. I just want to have something that I can live
Live
forever.
forever.
But that's unnatural. If you've come on this planet, you will complete your life cycle and then you'll go. It's for every ingredient also. It's for humans also. It's for animals also. It's for trees also. Everything has a life cycle. So life cycle analysis of plastic is much higher than any other product, and since its productions and scalability is very high, it's very difficult to meet the pricing demand. The moment you bring out any technology that is either cost effective or cheaper than plastic, but has durability of plastic and goes back to nature faster than plastic, it'll boom. Government is looking for solutions like that.
Yeah.
But
So the reason why plastic is being used because it's cheap, it's
cheap.
durable.
It's durable.
The only fact is that
It's useful.
Okay.
It's the only problem is that it is not being managed properly.
Okay.
That's why we have plastic waste management rules. And mind you, out of all the waste management rules, plastic waste management rules are the most updated ones. Every year there is something or the other regarding technology, regarding EPR, compostable plastic, biodegradable plastic, something or the other is coming up.
Okay.
So because government is also desperately looking for solutions.
Right.
And I think that there are compostable plastic is a big lobby in India, but the only challenge with compostable plastic is that it can become compostable once it goes to a composting facility. And right now there are only 2 or 3 composting facilities that are functional in India.
And so that is the reason why it is not being converted or biodegraded.
Yeah, that's why it is not being able to biodegrade as per the scientific uh, declarations that it does.
Okay, got it. So I would ask you, we're coming to the end now.
Yeah.
I would want to ask you any giveaway pointers from your end on sustainability, on how we can take this adopt this in our day-to-day lifestyle, and how corporates can apply this, and giveaway pointers from your end.
Thanks for asking me this question, Sanchit. So I think this is pretty much of something that I've mentioned a lot of times during our conversation. Just apply common sense at every instance. So sustainability is not just about, it's not just restricted to your own your own self. Whatever choices you will make, you'll end up impacting your family, you'll end up impacting and inspiring the people around you. There will be some kind of an impact that you will have, because we have impact, whether we know it or we don't. So it's not a choice. It's basic sense that you apply in everything that you do. For example, ESG, corporate sustainability, also includes governance and finance. Now people will say, what finance has to do with it? When you're cost effective, when your energy management is effective, when your stakeholder engagement is spot on, and you're able to identify resources and manage them effectively, obviously your costs are going to come down. It might look like an investment in the future, in the current state, but it's not a heavy compliance that you go, for which you have to go out of the way. It is different from CSR. It is a ESG is basically getting your DNA corrected.
Okay.
And for that, you don't have to hire or make any big investments. You just have to introspect. So my final takeaway should be by the people would be simply introspect on the ways you're working in your personal as well as in your professional life, and staying true to your word.
Okay. And for corporate?
This is for corporate as well.
Okay. Interesting. So it was great having you, Sukriti.
Thank you.
And so this is a series podcast on sustainability, and we would be taking up in future on other aspects as well of
Of
sustainability.
course.
Thank you so much.
It was nice meeting you.
Likewise. This concludes our first episode on the sustainability series. We have a lot more in store for you guys. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned to our space for insights into the corporate world. Like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Let us know in the comment section if you have any questions on ESG or any law related to it. Join us for our next episode on The Corner Office.